All right. So we're here on Monday. This is February the 3rd here in the studio. I'm here with Jim from Jiu-Jitsu Magazine. What's up, Jim?
Hey, what's going on, Coach? And what's going on, everyone else? So, the infamous Monday after the Super Bowl, which I believe it should become an American holiday in itself, the Monday after Super Bowl. But this is really a jiu-jitsu focused podcast, so we're going to keep it jiu-jitsu, which there was another big event. The heavyweights took over Dallas over the weekend, February 1st, with Kasai Pro 7, the heavyweights. And you being the coach, I know you have some stuff to talk about.
Yeah. Well, let's just recap it, and then I'll go over some key things. I mean, these types of pro events are pretty important to if you're into modern jiu-jitsu and you kind of want to see what the top guys are doing. You want to look for trends. You always should be watching the kind of these pro events, right? Because the best guys are in them, and if you just want your jiu-jitsu to be up to date, you gotta analyze these events. Okay, so like you said, Dallas, Texas on Saturday, 8-man heavyweight tournament, 3 super fights. Kasai has some interesting rules. First of all, the matches are in like a round robin format. So everybody in each group faces each other once. And then based on the outcome of those matches, only one person from each group moves on. So there's I believe there's how many people in each group here? 4 people in each group. And then only one moves to the final. And then the second place of each group fights in the third place match. Okay. The rules are kind of they're kind of confusing at first, but once you understand them, they're pretty simple actually. Even the announcers were kind of a little bit confused at different times of the broadcast, but they figured it out too. So rules pretty simple. 3 points for submission. So if it's me and you, Jim, and you submit me, you get 3 points. 2 points for a win via points or penalty. So if you beat me 4-0 on amount's 4 points, then you win. 2 points though, not 3. Okay, and if we draw, so if we end up with the same point total at the end, then it's a draw. We get 1 point. So me and you both get 1 point.
Right.
Okay, so all right.
And just to clarify, this is the pro rule set.
Yes.
All the other matches that lead up to the pro series is IBJJF rules.
I believe so. I'm not 100% sure. this is a long event.
Yeah.
This thing was like 6 hours, at least.
Right.
So
right. So we're focusing. We're going to focus on the pro series.
Yeah, we're going to focus on the 8-man heavyweight tournament,
right.
And I will talk about some of the super fights, but mainly the 8-man heavyweight tournament. So right off the bat, Patrick Gao Gio was out with a virus. They said that on the broadcast. Lucas Barbosa was also sick, had the flu, I think, or he said it, but he competed and did pretty well. Also, there were a couple of pullouts and injuries during the tournament. Okay, so let's start. Group A. Group A had the following people. Okay, so Group A had Cyborg, Nick Rodriguez, Bruno Bastos, Vinny Magalesh. Okay, so those 4 people. All right, some of the matches that I think were important. The first one was Vinny Magalesh and Nicky Rod, so Nick Rodriguez. And this is the match where Nicky Rod just crazy speed and aggression. He just overwhelmed Vinny with flying knee cuts, back take attempts from the turtle. Vinny showed really good defense, but overall, Nicky Rod just too athletic, too fresh, too young, and unfortunately, Vinny got injured. So there was a really vicious knee cut that Nicky Rod did that I think basically was just knee straight to the groin, and Vinny injured his groin sometime during that match. He never recovered, and he had to pull out after this match. Okay, ultimately, we'll get to it later, but ultimately, Nicky Rod kind of, by injuring Vinny, he kind of screwed himself. Okay, I'll explain why. All right, so that match ended up in a draw. So despite Vinny being injured, he didn't give up any points. So it was 1-1. Okay, next match was ADCC rematch. Next match I want to cover was Cyborg and Nicky Rod. So Cyborg, Nicky Rod, everybody wanted to see that match. Nicky actually got a lot closer to taking Cyborg's back. I think if it was a decision, he would have won. But in the end, Cyborg's guard retention just too good. You just cannot, this guy, I mean, there's nobody like Cyborg. When you see a guy that size, how he's able to invert, how he's able to retain guard.
It's a thing to behold.
Now he has wrestling. Like I mean, I don't know where he got this wrestling from, but his wrestling is incredibly good now. He's the complete package now. So Cyborg is.
If I remember correctly, I think he actually came from a wrestling background himself.
Really?
Cyborg. Yeah, okay. I mean, don't quote me with that, but if I do remember correctly, he actually grew up on a farm, and wrestling was really big in his household. So he actually went to jiu-jitsu, and so you could say he may have harkened back to his wrestling.
Maybe he went back. I never knew that because when I think of Cyborg, all I think about is
Tornado guard.
Tornado guard.
Sorry.
Flexibility, the ability to invert. He was
amazing.
The only big guy that I know of that can invert like that. Like just, relies on inverting. But anyway, okay. So those are the kind of the I guess the big matches. And there wasn't that many submissions. Okay, so one of the products of this, the reasons why this happens is because it's short time limit, 6-minute match, and they're heavyweights. So Nicky Rod does submit Bruno Bastos with a heel hook in the Group A, kind of like the qualifying rounds, and he gets the 3 points. Okay, but here's where it gets kind of, I would say, a little bit unfair for Nicky Rod. He ends up scoring in the Group A. He ends up scoring 5 points. Right, so let's add them up. He has 2 wins via. Actually, no. Sorry, let me go back. So he has 1 win via heel hook, so he gets 3 points for the submission, right? Then he has, let me see here. Then he has 1 draw, so he gets 1 point. And then I believe he has 1 other draw. Yeah, so he gets 1 point. So he gets 5 points. 2 draws, 2 points. 1 submission, heel hook to Bruno Bastos, 5 points, right? So he has 5 points. Cyborg also has 5 points. So Cyborg has 2 wins, and he has 1 draw. The draw was with Nicky Rod. Cyborg, however, goes to the final, and the reason I think is because both of them faced Vinny, but Cyborg rolled over because Vinny was injured, pulled out. So Cyborg scores, at the end, Cyborg and Nicky Rod had the same amount of points, but because Cyborg technically beat Vinny and Nicky Rod and Vinny had a draw, that was the head-to-head, and Cyborg goes to the final, and Nicky Rod goes to the 3rd place match. So number 1, Cyborg, number 2, Nicky Rod. Everybody else, didn't make it. I thought that was unfortunate. It was kind of like wasn't the most fair thing, but what can you do? Rules are rules.
That's everyone knows the rule says going in, or at least they should, going in. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it wasn't all unfair. I think if Nicky Rod would have just scored on Vinny even a point, he would have easily went to the finals.
Yeah, and I got to say, Coach, I flinch at the term unfair. Although I think you're, in one sense, you do have a point.
I don't want to say unfair. It was unfortunate.
Unfortunate. Yeah. There you go.
It was fair because the rules when you enter a competition, you can't alter the rules. The rules, the rules.
And the rules were never altered. No concessions were made for any competitor.
Yeah, as long as there wasn't any backstage deals or whatnot, it's fair. So I shouldn't say that. Yeah. I would just say Nicky Rod unfortunately was left out of the final. I would have loved to see him against. We'll get to the final.
And this is a future episode of podcast, just kind of talking about rule sets, the different rule sets, and not really to judge rule sets, but just kind of listen. It's a discussion to be had for sure, right?
Yeah, it dictates how the fight goes. Yeah. Like I mean, in a specific rule set, all the matches could have ended differently.
Right.
All right, Group B. Right. Okay, so Group B, we had Lucas Barbosa, Lucas the Hulk Barbosa, Kyle Bain, 10 Planet guy, big name right now in the 10 Planet system. Joelle Hoja, who on paper, when I look at this, I look at it right away and I say, this guy's the favorite. Joelle Hoja is the biggest guy. He's probably the most
decorated.
Maybe not. Cyborg might be,
Cyborg's
but
up there,
again, he's younger than Cyborg. He's bigger. Just the size. I was like, this guy's that big. He's probably going to just dominate everybody based on size.
Right.
And then so Patrick Gao Gio was out via virus. So his replacement was a guy named Paulo Azambuja. And he was good. He was good replacement. Tried hard. Didn't score any points, but had a good performance. Okay, so this Group B started off right away with controversy. Okay, so Kyle Bain, leg locker, very, very, very hard guard to pass, goes against Joelle Hoja in their first match. And the weird thing, a very strange thing happened. So Kyle's toes got caught up in Joelle's shorts. Okay, and I'm not sure what the rule is there, but I think they have to stop and they have to reposition themselves, right? But Joelle looks at the ref, starts talking, and stops defending. So he's in a heel hook, by the way. And Kyle, not responding to Joelle's talking, cranks the shit out of this heel hook, outside heel hook. I think it was from the outside Ashi position. It hurts Joelle. Hurts him. Joelle screams in pain and taps. So what happens? Kyle Bain gets 3 points, wins via submission. Would he have gotten that? I honestly don't think so. I think Joelle Hoja probably would have escaped that. He escaped a lot of Gordon Ryan's heel hooks. But anyway, controversy because Joelle thought, whoa, his toes are in my shorts. Either way, the ref didn't stop anything, so you can't stop the match yourself, right? So anyway, Kyle Bain wins via heel hook and gets 3 points. This is big because 3 points is big. Usually you score 6 points, you're on to the final. That's usually in the previous Kasai's, that's what's happened. Because you get 2 submissions, you're on to the final. All right. So anyway, Joelle immediately comes out with big hole, right? He scores 0 right away. So Kyle Bain is in a good position. Unfortunately, you just can't call your own timeout. You have to let the ref do it. All right, I didn't think there was any controversy there, other than the fact that Joelle just stopped competing, and you just can't do that. It's just it's unfortunate. Again, I wouldn't say unfair, but it was just unfortunate that he chose to stop. Okay, all right, and that was only the second of 3 submissions, right? So of all these matches, we only had 3 submissions in all the tournament, right? Which is not unexpected. These are heavyweights, and it's a 6-minute match.
Right.
6 minutes, very hard to submit somebody who doesn't want to get submitted, right? So
at this level, especially
at this level, right? All right, next one. Next match I want to hone in on is Joelle Hoja ends up arm triangling the replacement. Azambuja, arm triangle, very nice arm triangle. If you guys have a chance, if you're your coach or if you want to kind of learn some stuff, go back and look at Joelle Hoja versus Paulo Azambuja in round 1. And Joelle hits this very nice, I'm going to have to start doing this nice, like an arm in, it's a front headlock, goes to an arm in guillotine, but he doesn't really go for the arm in guillotine. He just uses a setup. He has a reverse grip, actually. Uses it to kind of dump you on your side, so you're now like laying on your side, and he shoots his arm up. That's why he has reverse grip. The arm goes straight into the arm triangle. So Anaconda Choke, right? So he wins via Anaconda Choke. Very nice. I'm definitely studying that one. Definitely going to look for it. And if you look at a lot of Joelle Hoja's training videos and matches, that's a move he goes for. That arm in guillotine to the Anaconda is like his move. Very, very, very nice. Okay, next, Lucas Barbosa defeats Kyle Bain via points. 2 points is another important match. I have one criticism for Kyle, and he needs to improve his wrestling. Like he looks very good, but when you're at this level and you're at this rule set, you cannot be one dimensional. You just can't. You need to have wrestling. You need to have. If you don't have wrestling, then you need to be able to score, right? So Hulk wins. Just the wrestling really just killed him. Superior wrestling. So Lucas Barbosa wins 2 points, and then the rest of the matches, they were not too. They weren't too exciting, but they happened. They rounded out the Group B, and at the end of the day, Lucas Barbosa really just earned his way to the finals. I mean, he scored 6 points, and he beat everybody. He beat everybody via points, but he beat everybody. Yeah,
and a little fun fact: Lucas Barbosa was actually a last-minute replacement as well for Kanan. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Kanan Duarte was supposed to be the original, but he got sick. And you were mentioning he was under the weather, so it has me thinking, God, what's going on right now with everyone? Because Kanan, I believe
coronavirus.
Yeah. Scary.
No.
Anyways, good job on Lucas.
Yeah, I've had a cough for like the last month. So
don't give it to me.
You have it already. You've got it.
All right.
No, but I don't have the coronavirus. I've just been caught. Like, I don't know. It is what it is.
All right.
All right. So Group B, Lucas Barbosa, 6 points. Like I said before, usually you score 6, you're into the final. Kyle Bain, 5 points. He's in the third place match. Joelle Hoja, 3 points, and then Azambuja, 0 points. Hoja, again, just he was visibly injured by Kyle Bain's heel hook in the first match. So he was visibly just not the same guy. Mm-hmm. And shout out to him for continuing. There were a couple people that didn't continue. Vinny couldn't continue. The injury, I think, was too severe. And a lot of it has to do with, it happened in the first match. They weren't warm. It probably can't even move anymore. Versus Joelle, I think they had a little bit of, they were already fighting for a little bit. And then, heel hook came on. And then Bruno Bastos also pulled out, I think, at the very end. But that was irrelevant. It didn't matter at that point, I think. I think that was also from the heel hook that Nicky Rod put on. All right. So that's how the kind of the qualifying stages shook out. I like the rules, but there's just there's no room for error. Like, if you want to get to the final, you need to have a combination of luck, skill, and you got to have a complete game. You can see the wrestlers did the best, right? Because they didn't give up points.
Right.
The people with the best wrestling, they were at the top. Yeah, it just is what it is. Okay, third place. Third place playoff, third place match. This was really where Nicky Rod shined. He defeats Kyle Bain via points 5-0. Very, very nice. He was the only person to pass Kyle's guard. Threatened with a rear naked choke, more like a face choke, face crush. But he ended up winning 5-0, dominant performance. People need to stop talking about, Kyle beating Gordon at this point. It's just I don't think it's going to happen. I think Kyle needs to work a little bit more on his just a couple things, just his distance control versus wrestling, and just he needs to just be at another. I think Gordon is at another level. I think Gordon. We're talking about Gordon Ryan. If he was in this tournament, I think he cruises to the finals, and he probably, he would be the huge favorite.
Yeah, he had a choice assessment, choice words for his assessment, and at the end of the day, he's not wrong, man.
He's not wrong.
He's kind of grown into some sort of polarizing figure in the community, but love him or hate him, wherever you stand, he's not wrong about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
When he starts talking about some of the facts he was reading off.
Yeah.
About the competitors and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So the third place goes to Nicky Rodriguez. We'll get back to him. I have some more things to say about him and the future of kind of this no-gi grappling scene that's taken off. And then and the reason why Nicky Rod won was just Nicky Rod has some of the best top position distance control and disengaging and framing ever. I've never seen a guy who was so good at gauging distance. I mean, people could call it stalling or whatever, disengaging, whatever you want to call it. It works. And I'm watching it, it's not boring. It's pretty exciting.
His brand of it is very exciting. His style is what, whenever I break things down is he's a master of, and it kind of goes to your point where you're saying, I think he's very strong at the phase one stage of combat, to where the stand-up, the initial, he could defend any kind of takedown attempts. But then once he's able to get the jump on someone, man, at this stage of his game, he could slap that pace off.
Yeah, he's too far ahead of you.
Right.
And you, by the time you start off, right, and you clash, he always wins the initial clash.
Right, because he's such a high-level wrestler.
Yeah.
And then you're behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck trying to run with him.
Yeah, you're busy defending while he's attacking, and he doesn't stop attacking. I don't think he gets enough credit, honestly. But all right, going to the final. So final is Cyborg and Lucas Barbosa. Yeah, I've actually never seen these guys compete against each other, which was pretty cool. But Cyborg is visibly just way bigger, and Lucas. He's according to him had the flu, so I mean it wasn't the greatest match. Cyborg came out just on fire. He took the match to Lucas, and I think maybe people expected Cyborg to kind of pull guard and do his thing, but he came out and just was hitting suplexes. He hit a suplex, and then Lucas just never recovered. It was again the come out, hit you with aggression, and then never let your foot off the gas, which in a 6-minute match you probably could do with the right conditioning and with the right just being able to dictate the pace like that. You
Sure.
could 6 minutes is not that long.
No, relatively speaking, especially when some of these guys, 10 minutes is a standard match.
Yeah.
Polaris and some of these other ones, Metamorph's not around anymore, but they have like 20-minute matches. And 6 minutes, I think in our world, that's kind of that's a sprint. That's a sprint.
Yeah, it's a short match.
Short.
So Cyborg wins. He's the Kasai heavyweight champion, and Lucas Barbosa takes the silver to second place. Nicky Rod is third, and Kyle Bain fourth. So, overall, you gotta give it up to Cyborg, man. This guy, I think the people that were in the final, they deserve to be there. But I would have liked to see Nicky Rod kind of in that mix somehow, because he was the only other guy with the wrestling, I think, to handle Cyborg and Hulk. Nobody else. Joelle Hoja maybe because of the size, but the other guys, they were just not. They just don't have the wrestling, man. In this format, which kind of punishes guard pulling, you have to shoot in order to pull, right? Which it's not hard. You just shoot, slide in, and then pull guard. You can't slide. Well, you could, but not like dive. Not like slide with your feet. You have to shoot.
Like a more of a traditional leg first.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like a Mendez Brothers guard pull where you grab the gi and you go baseball sliding in.
Right.
Not like that. All right. So, you know what? Let me get to super fights. Just get them talked about, and then we'll go to the keys of the event that I think people should know if you're into the sport. The super fights. Raquel Canuto. This is Hanato Canuto's wife, I believe, beats Gabby McComb via rear naked choke. So Gabby, I was watching the match. Gabby goes for a heel hook, but goes down to her shoulder, and then turns her back, right, which exposes her back, and then Canuto gets the rear naked choke, right. So you shouldn't really expose your back when you're going. You shouldn't go down to your shoulder. You should more turn up, turn their heel up, and just face them. That gives you a frame. When you turn your back to the ground, you just expose too much. You don't know what they're doing. They're closing distance on you. When they say grab you, then you're screwed. So that's what happened. Finishes her. The other match was John Combs beats Pedro Hoja via guillotine. This very nice arm-in guillotine. John Combs is one of the best arm-in guillotines in that I've seen. The arm-in guillotine. I'm telling you, if you're gonna come train tonight, Jim, I'm telling you that arm-in guillotine is there. I think right now, gi, no gi, if you're not studying that arm-in guillotine, Some people call it the Hingertine, I think. It is just, it's there, man. I'm hitting and training all the time. It's a counter to single leg. It's a counter to wrestling. It's a counter to scrambling. You can hit it off a back take. You can hit it off, many places. And that's a fight-ending move. You hit that on somebody, they're done. Okay. I actually got John Combs instructional after that because I was like, you know what, I gotta see if his stuff is a little different from Josh Hinger's. And then Dante Leone, another guy with a great arm in guillotine, finishes many people with arm in guillotine. But he beats Renato Canuto via points, 5-4. And this was a crazy match. This match. I mean, any match Renato Canuto's in is crazy. And Dante Leone, same thing, crazy. This guy, he's a finisher. He goes for a submission. There was one exchange that you guys definitely should go back and study and look at. Maybe not study, but look at. There was a crazy knee bar from how do I put this? It's like a reverse De La Hiva. You kind of hook the other leg with your arm, and then you throw yourself underneath. And it was initially a knee bar by Dante. It's crazy tight. I'm talking legs closed, bridging. Canuto somehow escapes. Dante changes it to a heel hook. He's basically creating everything that I saw there was, it's a finish. But Canuto just, I think, has the flexibility and the awareness to kind of, outbase Dante and just separate the legs, and he eventually freed his knee, got out. But if you watch this, it was, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, that's over. That's done. Like, I would have tapped, from the initial bridge, let alone, 4 or 5 seconds later. So yeah, check that out. All right, so that pretty much covers the whole event. Now, I've already talked about some of these points, but some of the keys that I kind of highlighted in this event, stuff to work on, stuff to kind of trends to build on. Front headlocks, man. Front headlocks. You got to have a game there. I know a lot of people just spin right to the back, spin to turtle, that attacking turtle position. I think Nicky Rod doesn't really have any front headlock game. It's just spins to your back and takes your back, and if you try to squirm away, he's going to take them out. He did that to Kyle Bain I think once at least. Second thing, reshots. A lot of the takedowns were not initial takedowns. Like, yeah, some people just grabbed the leg and sucked it in, but most of the takedowns that I saw were off of reshots. One person shoots, second person, blocks, down blocks, sprawls, frames away. And as the second person's getting up, there's a moment of weakness there where, unless you're a high-level wrestler, you don't have the speed to kind of deal with that. And it just, a lot of the takedowns I saw were reshots. It's like somebody throwing a punch, right? When you throw a punch, if you're not that experienced, sometimes you don't recoil your hand back in time and you get hit with a counter, right? So that's the reshot, I think, is like a counter. It's something that I think is going to have a lot of there's going to be games built around reshots soon. Okay, because there's no risk. There's less risk, actually. Not no risk, but less risk. This event was generally plagued with a couple injuries, illness, pullouts. Okay, but we already kind of talked about that. Why so many injuries during the fights, during the tournament? I think one of the reasons for a lot of the injuries was because of the 6-minute time limit and because of the kind of the rule set, right? If you get 3 points for submission, then, people will drop back for heel hooks and things like that. And it'll, you really want to get, even if you're winning, you should look to submit. Even if it's like Nicky Rod was winning and then he dropped back for a heel hook on Bruno Bastos and got it, because there's a reason, and unfortunately Bruno's injured, couldn't continue. But, I think the rule set dictates a lot of this, right? 6-minute match, people can come out just going hard, and that's I think that's why. So that's that. I know people online are kind of shitting on this, but flying knee cuts, man, flying knee cuts are a thing. Okay, I'm not going to do it in training. to people that are unaware, but I'm telling you, Nicky Rod flying knee cutted everybody, and his ability to get you to turtle is like second to none. Like, I have never seen a guy just force turtle on so many people ever. So it all stemmed from the flying knee cut. He has like two moves passing: flying knee cut and like an X pass. And I think speed is a move too, is an attribute. And so he was able to just force everybody to turtle. I mean, you got to watch this guy's speed and just the things he's doing. For a guy that's been training, 2 years, it's crazy.
Jiu-Jitsu for 2 years.
Jiu-Jitsu, right. Yes. Wrestling, much longer, I'm sure. And yeah, he's the guy that I think, at least to me, stands out in all of this. And technical stuff aside, like I already said, he's one of the best guys at managing distance from a wrestling stance and from top position.
Yeah, I think you stated it earlier, and I tend to agree with you. I don't think he gets the full credit he deserves. I mean, kind of sounds funny figuring he's one of the hot names right now. But that being said, I think it's too easy to dismiss his because his physique, the way he's
the way he markets himself.
Yeah, I mean all that. He's no dummy on the mat. The guy works hard, and the technical aspect will develop. And once that happens, good luck.
Yeah, and people that there's a lot of how I know this guy's a superstar is because of the amount of hate he gets online.
Right.
He's a superstar.
I've heard you say that.
Why nobody hates on nobody. There's really no hate for any other competitors, but people online are just saying, Nicky Rod, this guy's a spaz. He is like, he's boring. First of all, he's not boring. If you think he's boring, what are you watching, man? Go watch some IBJJF like gi tournaments and tell me this guy is boring. Yeah. If anything, this is the most exciting guy in no gi right now.
Yeah.
And by the way, I am not saying this for any biased reason, right? People will be like, "Oh, Ben, you're saying this because
you want something out of this.
You guys are friends." Yeah. You guys, no, we're not really friends. I've interviewed the guy once. No. He follows me on Instagram, for whatever reason I don't know, and that's it. I don't know the guy. I'm just speaking the truth. He is a superstar. He's very exciting. His technique may not be like the most sophisticated thing, but the things that he does well, he does really well. Like, he is just to put those guys in the positions that he put them in is crazy, man. I don't think he gets, like you said, you said already, he doesn't get the credit he deserves. And I think he is the guy that's going to carry the sport. And that's and a lot of that is from the haters. He's going to need those haters. Those haters are going to propel him to the next level. And so maybe if I want the sport to grow, I should hate on him. Who knows? But anyway, he's the guy I think that he's going to be a staple in this scene for a while. I think a lot of the other guys like Cyborg and Lucas Barbosa, they're all great, but they're kind of older. They kind of bring the same thing to the table, and they're going to be legends, right? But they're not bringing the noise that Nicky Rod is. And another guy, Kyle Bain, I think this guy has a huge future too. Great leg locker. He needs to just maybe work a little bit on his wrestling. But either way, he's another superstar. Another guy that's gonna be a big star. I liked the fact that Cyborg, when he won, he thanked Bruno Bastos for kind of being a pioneer. I thought that was really cool because Bruno Bastos, I remember this guy from like 15 years ago, and he is one of the few people that play like an old school game. He plays like a flat half guard, deep half guard, and he's able to hang. Just to be able to hang with these guys is crazy, because his game, people would say it's outdated at this point, but just the fact that he's able to hang with these guys, it shows how good he is. Joelle Hoja, I think it was just an unfortunate circumstance that that controversy that happened. But yeah,
and
he's
usually
another
very
superstar.
fun to watch. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this guy. I mean, this is the guy that basically knocked Gordon out for 8 months from that injury. Remember that?
Oh yeah, last year.
Yeah, last year. So yeah. Anyway, that's for the most part the event. If you're following along, the next big event is who's number one?
Who's number one next weekend?
Next weekend, Keenan versus Roberto Jimenez, a few other super fights. And yeah, so that's it. Good event, Kasai.
Yes, so a shout out to Hollis Gracie and Rich Byrne, the guys that are steering that ship over there. Another one in the bank. Look forward to the next one. And Coach, thanks for your insight, breaking down some of the matchups and the technical attributes of the show and the state of technique in the jiu-jitsu community.
Yep.
If you want to follow Coach Ben, he's on Instagram at Coach BZ Bravo Zulu. And other than that, thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks to Muscle Farm. Thanks to Jiu-Jitsu Mag.
All right. Consume your protein. Peace out.